that was the reason that this particular client focused purely on American made. And it's a good thing that she did, because she would have wiped out our entire inventory, one trade. So I went to a handful of people that I've known for a very long time, and I said, give me everything you have.
Here at Liberty and Finance, we're licensed brokers with Miles Franklin. We are standing by the inventory, ready to make sure you get what you need, even into the wee hours of night and on weekends, because preparedness doesn't stop. Call us 1-888-81-LIBERTY. That's 1-888-815-4237.
Welcome back to Liberty and Finance. We're always delighted to have this returning guest every Tuesday for our weekly market update. Our guest will be Andy Schectman, the CEO of Miles Franklin Precious Metals. He joins us this July 26th, 2022. Andy, thanks for coming back on Liberty and Finance.
Good morning. Good to see you. It's a little bit earlier than normal, but being as that we're going to be together in person here for the next few early mornings at Rick's Symposium at the Boca Beach Club. It's good to see you, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Yeah, you'll notice my glamorous background here differs from my usual studio. This is the hotel room at the Boca Raton. It's the resort where the Rule Symposium on Natural Resources Investing will be kicking off registration this afternoon. We're on tap for that, and we'll be delighted to keep people appraised of what we're learning along the way. My two sons who are part of this channel together with me, Elijah K. Johnson and Kaiser Johnson, are going to be attending as many of the talks and speakers as they can and keeping me updated on that. You and I will be together in the Miles Franklin exhibitor booth, able to meet lots of our subscribers, our viewers, and so on, and also able to mill around and meet face-to-face and in person with lots of the CEOs of the companies with whom we've been interviewing and that we've been talking about with our viewers for years. So it's a big opportunity. We're great to be here, and wanted to kick it off with a news story that you passed along and I tweeted out during the week. And this is something that people would have called a conspiracy theory just a few years ago. And here it is coming out in the media. Russia and China officially announce a, quote, new global reserve currency. That's been a long time of brewing. There's been signs and signals and body posturing and pre-positioning that's been happening for a long time in this regards. And in the past, when any countries of the world have attempted to trade significantly in certain commodities and so on outside the US dollar, they've usually gotten smacked. But Russia and China announcing a new global reserve currency is even a bolder step, because that affects all global trade potentially. So could you talk to us about what you've been warning us for months and months and months, years actually, and how this proves that it's playing out?
Yeah, when you have ideas and bring them forth to people, let alone to the internet, and they materialize, you start to, it's a weird feeling. And, it's not about being a soothsayer. It's not even about being lucky and making a call. If you just take a step back and look at what's happened and has been unfolding, it becomes really crystal clear that this trend of de-dollarization is real. If we go back and look at Saudi Arabia and Russia's joint military cooperation agreement announcement the day after we left Afghanistan in September of last year, 2021, and then the day after that, that same announcement being brought forth between Russia and Nigeria. And then the day after that, to your point, Russia says to the world in a Zero Hedge article that I read, we have outfitted all of our nuclear-powered submarines with hypersonic ICBM missiles. The State Department came out almost immediately saying, this is a technology we're very concerned about. We do not have it. Look, when Saddam Hussein and Muammar Gaddafi both threatened to sell their oil for gold or for euro or for whatever other currency that was not the dollar, there were repercussions. And to your point, I do not think it would be wise to go and try and seek some sort of retribution against Saudi Arabia or Nigeria, both of which are being protected by Russia. And let's not forget Nigeria being part of the Belt Road Initiative and just the coalition of the BRICS nations. You're bringing in China into the mix too. This is something that will not follow the same script that Iraq and Libya did, to your point. And it was validation to me at some point a few weeks ago when Nigeria came out and said, yes, we've decided to sell our oil for the yuan-denominated bond, which, by the way, remember, is immediately convertible into gold on the Shanghai Gold Exchange. And it was also very obvious that Iran decided to join the BRICS nations because, look, you want to beat U.S. sanctions? What better way to do it than to sell your oil to China for a yuan-denominated bond that is immediately convertible into gold on the Shanghai Gold Exchange, the only other tier one reserve asset, that being gold. And you're seeing this progression of countries moving away from dollar settlement. We've talked all about it. It's becoming very obvious when you see countries like India, who were their largest trading partners, settling all domestic trades now in rupee. When you're seeing these trades that always were dollar-centric moving away, when you see the Belt Road Initiative, which is settling on the digital yuan, not settling on the dollar, these markers along the highway of de-dollarization are becoming more and more and more and more obvious. And the coup de grace, I guess you could say, is, well, there's two. The first one was Saudi Arabia saying, well, we're thinking of joining the BRICS nations. To me, there is no thinking. When you say that, that's a soft, kind of the soft letdown. It's coming. And they don't just say that, throw that out into the ether to not do it. And if you think, at least my opinion is, that Biden flew, who hasn't even been to the Mexican-Texas border, if you think he flew to Saudi Arabia just to ask them to pump a little bit more oil, I think you're mistaken. I think he went there begging to have Saudi Arabia reconsider this decision to, well, maybe we're going to join the BRICS nations. And when you see the two big linchpins of the BRICS nations come out and say, we are going to formulate a world reserve currency, flat out, we're going to formulate a world reserve currency, which is another way of saying to challenge the dollar for its hegemony. And then you take a step back and realize, what did Saudi Arabia just say? What is Nigeria already doing? You're talking the linchpin. You're talking the key to the dollar hegemony is this close from being broken. And this is what I'm going to be talking about in my presentations at this conference today, excuse me, where the world is breaking away from the dollar. And if you pull the petrol reserve status, I think it becomes something that goes from an interesting news story into something that becomes truly concerning and should be. And I guess all of this boils down to, in my mind, the fact that the Federal Reserve and their jawboning and lip service is nothing but a sideshow on the road to global de-dollarization.
That's something that's continued to evolve and reveal itself over the months and over the years. People keep asking, when is this going to happen? And the best I think we can do is point out some of the most likely signposts that we're going to be passing along the way. It's like when somebody is giving you driving directions and you're going someplace that's very complex and that has had a lot of changes and a lot of road construction and everything. They can't tell you at exactly 12:37 p.m. take a left turn no matter where you are. They can tell you that after you pass the big demolition site where they tore down the convention center, then that's where you turn left. So these are the signposts. These are the actual evidence. These are the actual physical things that are happening in our world. And Alistair MacLeod has been good enough to tell us about these are the ones to watch for. This is what's actually happening. You're doing the same thing. We really appreciate that. And I think people have to be realize that that's really the best we can do in such a complex world, is to say you need to be informed by the actual events that are happening and the patterns that they are forming and the direction that they are indicating and how that fits into a bigger picture of what's going on. One of the things that a lot of our clients have been asking about for weeks and weeks and weeks, if not months, is the extremely high prices for premiums on American Silver Eagle coins. You've talked to us in the past in some very general terms about shutdowns and production stoppages and so on at the U.S. Mint. We'd like to get an update on that. I know you have contacts at the Mint, but it's just been beyond anything we've ever seen before. When people used to always favor and prefer, as do I and my wife, American Silver Eagles, that's when we could get them for 50 cents to $1 more per coin. But now that they're more than $8 in many cases more per coin than the comparable technical equivalents, can you talk to us about what are the factors that are driving those high premiums so that people can really understand what's going on? And then secondly, why is it that despite that, in the face of that, some people are still insisting on American Silver Eagles made in USA as their preferred choice of coins to acquire for silver? What are some of the factors that they're considering that we may not be all always keeping in mind?
Sure. Well, look, the bid price right now, if someone were doing a trade with us and trading Silver Eagles into kilo silver bars, and we weren't going to make anything at all on the buyback, this was just a straight up trade. I will pay you at least, if not north of $9 over the price of silver right now to buy back your Silver Eagles. So it's, before I even go there, it's important to understand that this is a two-way street. And when you look at the difference between a $9 bid price and, say, a $13 ask price, that's as big of a spread as I have ever seen. A lot of people are out there talking right now about this big order that we did for $50 million transaction, of which half of it was in silver. Actually, $27 million of it was in silver, of which 930,000 American Silver Eagles were sold. And if this client were to say to me, I need to sell back 130,000 Silver Eagles to you, and I'm paying a $9 premium on that, do the math. It becomes a situation where I can't hedge that premium. So there has to be a large spread first and foremost. So I just wanted to cover that part right now, because the risk that the dealers take by onboarding inventory that can't be hedged other than the metal content is significant when it gets to be as large as it is right now. Look, the primary distributors, as I've mentioned before, are the ones that are putting out this huge premium. And I don't blame them. That's capitalism for you, in the respect that the U.S. Mint, who is providing the Eagles to the distributors, for whatever reason, all right, say it's lack of blanks, say it's inefficiencies, say whatever you want, they have been incredibly sporadic and I use the word inefficient in getting product out to the public. Look, the Sunshine Mint provides the majority of the blanks to the United States Mint to make, they're called planchets, to make their Eagles. They also do it for other major mints, like I believe the UK and South Africa. They're making them right there. These other countries have not had a problem getting us product. These other countries have not jacked their premiums up. My whole career, the difference between a Britannia, a Kangaroo, a Philharmonic, and an Eagle is 50, 60 cents, to your point. Now it's $6 or $7. You have to wonder if there's something more nefarious at hand, because I mentioned on your show a few weeks ago that the U.S. Mint contacted me and said, hey, we're going to curtail production of gold by 50% into the second half of the year. For what? Why? No one's been buying gold for the past 2 years. I mean, they have, but of all the business we're doing, 90 plus, 95, 98% is silver. So there has been a greater interest in gold with the uptick in inflation and the geopolitical issues. But the point of it is that why curtail production, the only mint out of all the major six, by 50%? And subsequently, we've seen premiums. Let's just talk 1 ounce gold Eagles and Buffaloes have increased by $70 in 3 weeks, and with no overload of demand into the U.S. Mint on gold. So you have to wonder. I mean, there's always that part of me that realizes a fine line, a delineation between conspiracy and reality. Are they trying to limit the exodus, mitigate the exodus of people out of the dollar? Are they trying to limit that or mitigate it? Are they realizing that people sense all-time high inflation or 40-year high? They're sensing a Fed who, in looking at the inverted yield curve, big money is saying they're going to pivot and go back to inflation and ease on the interest rates. Is this reality translating into the Fed's the Mint and the U.S. Treasuries unwillingness to allow this to happen easily for the American public? I don't know, other than to simply say this, that I too, as a U.S. Mint distributor, one of only 27 in the world, have a particular fondness for American-made coins. But you have to wonder, is it worth it? You have to wonder, is this really a supply-demand imbalance being driven by an inordinate amount of demand, or is it a mint that is just unable to meet demand, or is it something more? All I can simply tell you, Dunnigan, is that in all the years I've done this, it's never been like this, and this is something now that's been going on for over 2 years with the Silver Eagle. Literally, I don't think it's come down below $8 once in the past 2 years, and $8 would be pretty dang close to almost 3 times what it is, the highest it had ever been in the 30 years preceding. So where we are right now, they're going up again. I just noticed that they're going up again north of $13. This is something that I don't know if it's going to continue, but I have a feeling that we're going to see the exact same thing with gold, eagles and buffaloes that we're seeing with silver eagles continue. And the continuing explanation that we hear is that it's a shortage of blanks. It's a shortage of capacity. They just have too much demand. They can't keep up. I don't believe that. I don't believe that because silver eagles have represented a very small portion of what we've been selling in the silver world because the premiums are so high. This is why when we did this huge $50 million deal 2 weeks ago, we had 94,000 silver eagles in stock because I've been stockpiling them, saying on your show and others, I love them, but I just can't in good conscience recommend that people buy them with these super high premiums. The client who did this order really wanted them and took them.
Well, that begs the question, and because often people who are of great means, people who are in the cheap seats think that, people of great means can buy anything they want, therefore they'll be not cost conscious buyers. And there's some truth to that in certain consumer goods, that sort of thing. But when it really comes down to investment purchases and that sort of thing, people of great means often have had a lot more experience making more deliberate choices, well-guided choices in areas, and are very very shrewd and very diligent about making sure that they get the best price when they're making those kind of moves from a business standpoint. So what are the factors, in your view and from your recent experience and conversations, that are driving many people of significant means to insist on made in USA, whether gold eagles or silver eagles? Because I've had some clients, some of the largest proposals that you've helped me respond to in the past couple of years have been for people who are absolutely insisting. Some of them said they have to have type 1, they can't have type 2 at all. But for people who are insisting in significant quantities on American minted only, what are their driving factors? Do you have a summary of that?
Well, I can tell you why this client wanted it, and maybe there's some symmetry in their reasoning. The broker, the outside representative, Miles Franklin, is Bill Holter, who brought this order to us. And in the 33 years I've done this, I've never seen an order even close to this size, nor had any of the people that I've really talked to that helped me fill this order in 20 hours, which I can't even believe that we did. the client wanted only American-made gold and silver, period. And so on the silver side, it consisted of 930,000 Silver Eagles. It consisted of the rest, up to $27 million, was in pre-1965 dimes and quarters, which is becoming maybe the hardest thing to get in this industry because it's just evaporated since it hasn't been made since 1964. And then the balance in circulated Peace and Morgan silver dollars. And you could not have chosen a more expensive way to do it, but you also got the Cadillac. Now, here's the thing. Bill is partners with a man named Jim Sinclair. And Jim Sinclair has publicly talked about his belief through inside information that he has. He was known as Mr. Gold in 1970. He is very, very tied in. His father's name was Murray Seligman, who was a legendary Wall Street trader, and has very close connections to significant families on Wall Street, and was told point blank, and he has told me this point blank, and I know that Bill has shared this publicly with his listeners and with his clients, that their belief is, and they were told by people supposedly who are high enough up to be able to say something like this with a little bit of authority. And again, I'm not saying I subscribe to this. I'm just simply saying this is the reasoning, is that there will be two resets. The first reset will be man-made. You could argue we're on the precipice of that, actually. In fact, that will be part of the title of my main stage presentation. The Great Reset, could it happen? And then that won't work, is what he was told, that there will be a second reset that will be ushered in by Mother Nature. And when the second reset comes in, the U.S. government will confiscate anything gold and silver that is not American made in origin. Whether that is true, whether or not people want to believe that, I know that that is the impetus, the reasoning, the rationale that was provided to all of Bill's clients, let alone this one. And in hearing it from Jim Sinclair personally at dinner one evening in Connecticut, it carried a little bit more gravity to me. But, you know, I have a lot of stuff that isn't American made. It hasn't motivated me to sell my Austrian or my Canadian or my South African product and purchase American made. But I can tell you point blank that Bill has done a great job of explaining that publicly to people, that, hey, his belief is that it's the safest way, it's the most liquid way, and if push comes to shove, will give you the greatest ability to keep it in an environment where that may be challenged. So that was the reason that this particular client focused purely on American made, and it's a good thing that she did, because she would have wiped out our entire inventory, one trade. So I went to a handful of people that I've known for a very long time, and I said, give me everything you have. And I took allocations of Silver Eagles into August of this next month into their allocations, so that I was able to fill this deal. As far as people wanting type 1s versus type 2s, yeah, you know, the Mint came out and issued a new security feature on the type 2 Silver Eagle. And there was all sorts of rumor and innuendo that these coins had chips in them, microchips, so they could track people that were holding the coins. And that proved to be nothing other than urban legend. That's not true. But whatever people's motivations are, I'll simply say this: there is no right or wrong answer. Peace of mind and sleep at night is by far the best asset you can own. And if it makes you feel better to own American-made products, so be it. It in a world where so many things are happening that really just seem to rattle the bushes, for me to take a step back and say, could this happen? Could this be real? Yeah, sure. I guess in theory it could. That was the motivation she had. Maybe that's the motivation that some of your clients have. But where I come from, my motivation is that in the end, it's about number of ounces that matter more than anything. And so, you know, when I advise people, I say, look, let's get you the most amount of gold or silver that we can get you without compromising your flexibility or your liquidity. And unfortunately, right now, that would exclude the American-made products, which, yeah, they're great, but in across the board, whether you're talking gold, silver, or platinum, by far have the highest premium above all of their counterparts. And so you have to think twice and think hard. Is it worth it to have the Lady Liberty stamp and the eagle on the back? It's like, is it worth it to have that can of Coca-Cola when it's $3 more than the can of Pepsi? Is it that big of a difference? Maybe it is to some people. So I wish I could be more definitive and give you a more concrete answer as to why the U.S. Mint is doing this, because quite frankly, they're the only one of the bunch that is grossly higher priced than the other five major mints of the world.
Well, the other thing that I find ironic about that whole thing, and I talked with Bill about this when I had him on one of my times recently on my channel, and that was that a lot of people have been drawn to investing in pre-1933 numismatic or semi-numismatic American gold coins with the idea that that might help qualify them as a collector and therefore protect them based on the rule that Franklin Delano Roosevelt put out, requiring people to nationalizing their gold coins back in 1934. The thing is that in that nationalization of gold coins, it was explicitly the U.S. minted gold coins that were being called in. So that's where I was pressing Bill a bit on that and asking, how is it that people who put so much stock in that this is the government's playbook, it's the executive order they published back in 1934, therefore that's what they're going to run again, and it called in American minted coins. So just to say that we try really hard, everybody tries really hard to think through scenarios, to imagine what's most likely, what's the most probable, how can I position myself. But in the end, it's just necessary that we do take steps that are meaningful and take steps that have tangible, results that we can rely on for our family. And I think it's going to be a fool's errand to try to outmaneuver every potential twist and turn that government regulations might take, because we've certainly seen some unpredictable ones in the last couple of years.
Of course it is. And of course it was American-made coins, because prior to 1933, the 1, the 2.5, the 3, the 4, the 5, the 10, and the $20 coins were made of gold. And so you had the Morgan dollars back then also, and the peace dollars, but everybody owned gold coins back then because it was legal tender. And so the executive order that was used in April of 33 to confiscate gold, by most people's belief, would give exemption in the future call-in because they were considered collectible and rare and whatnot. But you're right. The reason they did confiscate American-made gold back then is that it was no different than a $20 bill in your pocket. It wasn't considered, I don't think it was looked at as gold. I mean, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but it was legal tender currency first and foremost. So, yeah, you're right. There is no playbook, and desperate governments do desperate things, and you try to do the best you can. And when you talk about gold confiscation with pre-33 numismatics, the exemption in 33 was levied upon dentists with dental gold, jewelers with jewelry, and collectors of pre-1933 U.S. That would be the exemption moving forward. And so when you buy pre-33 coins, are the coins really exempt, or is it the motivation that you employ for owning them? Are you a collector or a hoarder? Do you show diversification in date and in mint mark and in type? And these are the things that when people do want to buy pre-33, that I have always been adamant about. Fine, if you're going to buy these coins, not just for their potential and their piece of Americana and their beauty, let's amply diversify them so that you can appear as though you're a collector. Buy some $20 Liberties in St. Gaudens, some $10 Liberties in Indians, some $5 Liberties in Indians. Let's get you different mint marks, maybe some different grades. How about some 2.5s? There are ways to diversify so you can appear to be a collector without exerting extra effort and spending extra money. And those are things that back in the 90s, when no one bought gold bullion, that we really excelled at. And only wanted numismatic coins back then because the difference between bullion and numismatics was this big. But anyways, the bottom line is this. And again, there is no there is no magic bullet here. There is no right or wrong answer. And we can just take the information that we are given and try to find, as Occam's razor would dictate, the most logical answer or the most logical outcome. And whatever that is to you out there that allows you to put your head down on the pillow and actually get rest and not toss and turn that you've made a bad decision or that you've put your assets in harm's way or compromise your family safety, that's the best path for you. And because I don't think any of us really have an answer as to where we are heading. You can see things just evolving so rapidly nowadays. And I guess you got to roll with the punches, hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and cross our fingers, right?
And in the face of that, we've got a special. We got to give you time to let everybody know what the special is.
Yeah, look, I want people to know that we sell gold, right? I mean, we sell gold. It's been, I think, in the last year or two, you and I have done one, maybe two specials on gold, and they centered around the pre-33 circulated coins. When I find them really inexpensively, I want to bring those to the public. We're sticking still with a similar theme of silver, and now some sovereign issued 2022 Austrian Vienna Philharmonics for $4.50 over the price of silver, which is ironically the best price I've seen them at in at least probably 2 years. I want people to know that in the end, I believe gold is really the place that they want to be. And I say that because of its tier 1 revision and of the big money accumulating gold. But at a 90 plus, 92, 93 to 1 ratio, silver is the most undervalued asset on the planet. And it continues to offer potential that I don't think you find anywhere else in the world where asset prices have been so distorted. So yeah, we're going to do the 2022 Vienna Philharmonic silver coin at $4.50 over the price of silver, and in stock, ready to go. And we'll keep trying to bring good value to the market, to your listeners, out of distinct and great appreciation for all their nice comments, and not kicking me off the channel with, I've heard that before. So look, I have a bad habit, I guess. Maybe it's not such a bad habit of saying the same things, but you can start to see the things that I've been saying for the past year and a half on your show are truly beginning to come true, and in a way that I never would have believed. So protect your family while you can. Start to mitigate your exposure to the dollar like the rest of the world, like the biggest money in the world is doing. They are divesting of dollars, and it's time for people to realize that this is a pathway to do the exact same thing if they haven't done it already.
Yeah, one more note about those Silver Philharmonics is that they do not have a portrait of Queen Elizabeth on them. For some people, that makes a big difference. So just pointing that out, there's only 3 mints, I think, the U.S., the Austrian, and the South African that you can say that about. So
that is correct. That is absolutely correct. And I never would have known how strongly a lot of people feel about having coins with Queen Elizabeth's likeness on it. And that's right. It's the Canadian mint, the Australian mint, and the UK mint. All three have her likeness on them in some form, shape, or form.
Well, Andy, we're always grateful for your presence here, giving us this latest weekly update every Tuesday. We'll be posting this at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, as we always do, and looking forward to seeing you very soon here this week at the Rule Symposium on Natural Resource Investing at Boca Raton. So everybody who has made the travel here would be delighted to see you face to face, shake your hand and meet you. For those of you who can't make it, keep on our channel here. We'll be giving you updates as we are aware of them, and on this and all other topics related to our family's preparedness and freedom. Andy, thanks for joining us at Liberty and Finance.
See you in a few hours, Done again. Thanks for having me. Thanks, everyone out there. Hope to meet some of you today at the show or this week. And if not, we'll see you same bat time, same bat channel next Tuesday.
Thanks, Andy.
Miles Franklin Precious Metals is one of America's oldest and most trusted bullion dealers. Miles Franklin is A+ rated and accredited by the Better Business Bureau, licensed and bonded, and has 0 complaints ever registered. Here at Liberty and Finance, we are licensed brokers with Miles Franklin. To order, simply call us, discuss your needs, and we will let you know our live inventory, prices, and availability, and lock in your order over the phone. Once your order is locked, the price is held for you regardless of market fluctuations, and the metals are reserved for you awaiting your settled payment. Within 1 business day of ordering, you will receive an email invoice detailing the order and payment instructions. Miles Franklin accepts payments by bank wire, ACH or electronic check, money order, check mailed priority mail, and cryptocurrency. The fastest forms of payment are bank wire and cryptocurrency. Upon settled payment, metals will ship out within 3 to 5 business days. You will receive tracking information via email. Domestic shipping charges are $15 for any order under 500 ounces of silver or 10 ounces of gold. For orders larger than that, domestic shipping is free. The package will be double boxed, fully insured, and labeled discreetly, with no indication of the contents inside. For your privacy, the name Miles Franklin will not even be on the package. To talk to myself, Elijah, my brother Kaiser, or my father Dunnigan, call 1-888-81-LIBERTY. That's 1-888-815-4237.